Okay, I'm recording.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm calling this meeting to order at 9:35. My name is Ben Meza. I am chair of the City of San Diego Commission for Arts and Culture Public Art Committee. We are going to do a quick roll call to confirm committee member attendance. When I call your name, please unmute yourself and say present. Commissioner Jason Wooper.
Present.
Linda Caballero Sotelo.
Present.
Anthony Graham is expected to be absent. Melinda Guillen.
Present.
Larry Herzog.
Present.
Onyun Park is also expected to be absent. Commissioner Doreen Schornburn. Doreen?
Hello,
Yes.
present.
Thank you. Tiffany Wei-Ying Bears. Okay, Tiffany, are you there? Okay. Thank you. Your attendance has been noted. Also joining us today is Commission for Arts and Culture staff, including Chief of Civic Art Strategies, Christine Jones, and Civic Art Project Manager, Lara Bullock. Senior Public Art Manager, Chuck Miller, is out of the office today. Before we get into today's agenda, I'm going to call on Laura to run down some of the guidelines for today's meeting. Laura.
Thank you, Commissioner Meza. So a reminder that this meeting is a Zoom webinar and members of the public may join the meeting as webinar attendees to provide virtual non-agenda and agenda comment in real time. A reminder to note the buttons on the control bar at the bottom of the Zoom window to mute and unmute and turn the camera on and off. Please remember to stay muted when you're not talking and to unmute yourself when you speak. Please keep your chat window open at all times as you will be using the chat to signal when you'd like to speak. Please refrain from using the hand raising indicator and instead just type speak in the chat window for the record. And the chair will acknowledge requests in the order that they're received. And finally, a reminder to please refrain from using the meeting chat for anything other than signaling that you'd like to speak in order to comply with the Brown Act. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. We will now move on to non-agenda public comment. The public was invited to submit public comment on agenda and non-agenda items via web form accessible through the agenda and the Commission's website. Members of the public may also join this meeting as webinar attendees. If members of the public have submitted comments in writing via web form, staff will read aloud public comment submitted per city public comment protocol. I will call on Laura to read aloud any non-agenda public comment or to call on any attendees who would like to provide comment. Laura?
Thank you, Commissioner Meza. So to those members of the public in attendance, please click the button to raise your hand to indicate that you would like to comment, and I will enable you to speak and send you a prompt to unmute yourself in order. When I call your name, please state name for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to provide comment, after which you will be placed on mute again. If you are joining via phone, please press *9 to raise your hand. I will call on you by the last 4 digits of your phone number. When I call on you, press *6 to unmute yourself. Please raise your hand now if you would like to provide non-agenda public comment. Looking. Okay, I do not see any requests for public comment.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Now for commission business. At the October 23rd commission meeting, the commission voted to recommend the acceptance of the final artwork proposal for the Civic Center mural project by M.R. Barnadas. Thanks again for your input on the project through its design development. As we approach the end of the calendar year, several Public Art Committee members, including community members Linda, Larry, and Tiffany, are approaching the end of their time with the Public Art Committee. The appointment of new committee members after a new commission chair is appointed, which is anticipated early in the new year. Committee members will serve until the new commission chair is appointed and new committee appointments can be confirmed. We expect this to happen within the first few months of 2022. On behalf of the commission, I will extend much gratitude for their service over the years, as well as for their continued service through the commission's transition period. Okay, now to our first action. I hope everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes from the October 8th, 2021 meeting. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the minutes as they are? If you would, please type speak in the chat window, and when I call on you, verbally state your name and make your motion. Anybody?
Jason has written speak.
So moved.
Thank you. And second? Laura, I can't see who responds for some reason. So
Yeah, it looks like Linda just responded.
okay. Thank you.
I second that.
Excellent. Thank you. Now let me get back to my script here. And we now have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If you would like to speak, please type speak on the chat window. Okay. Now we will take a vote. I will call your name and you will respond out loud via yay, nay, or abstain. Remember that you do not need to have been present at the October meeting to vote or discuss. Commissioner Jason Whooper.
Yay.
Linda Caballero Sotelo.
Yay.
Melinda Guillen.
Yay.
Larry Herzog.
Yay.
Commissioner Doreen Schoenberg.
Yay.
Tiffany Wei Ying Bears. And my vote is a yay. Thank you. Lara, please read any public comment for this item that was submitted in writing and call on any attendees who would like to provide comment for this item.
Thank you, Commissioner Meza. We have received no written comment. Would any attendees like to provide any public comment? If so, please raise your hand. Okay, seeing none.
Okay, thank you. Now I would like to call on Lara to provide an overview of the Park Social Initiative and introduce the artists for their presentations. Laura.
Thank you. So just to go over just kind of some basic information about the Park Social Initiative. The Park Social Initiative is a new initiative designed to commission local artists to produce thought-provoking, innovative projects for the city's park system. And the goals of the initiative are to produce innovative, thought-provoking, social specific, so in the vein of social practice, projects that relate to park space or spaces, to re-energize San Diego artists in their artistic practice and creative development, and to produce quality art interventions, interactions, and exchanges between park goers and parks. And lastly, to spark dialogue and encourage people to get out into parks post-COVID-19 and experience parks in new, unexpected ways. Okay, so the anticipated Park Social timeline, we're kind of in the first two chunks right now. So fall 2021, PAC presentation of project ideas. Also in the fall, staff updates on idea development. And then in winter 2022, there will be an announcement about the program. And then spring 2022 is when projects will begin launching. And then, so just again, these projects are temporary, which makes them innovative and new. So there are 18 artist/artist teams, and then there are 2 per council district. So the artists were assigned these council districts or exploration zones, and they were free to choose any park, open space in the council district to work within. And so 6 artists are going to present today, and they will provide concise, exactly 5-minute presentations followed by a exactly 5-minute Q&A. We want to make sure that we have time to hear all of the presentations and we leave time for questions. And then the parks cited today are subject to change. Oh, okay, so the first artist team that will present today is Klein Swanger and Casey Munoz. So Klein and Casey, if you would like to share your screen and present, you may do so now.
Thank you.
And I'll start the clock as soon as you make it large.
Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes.
that's great.
Sorry, is Casey still on?
Yep, I'm here.
Great,
I'm
thank you.
ready to rock and roll.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So my name is Klein Swanger and this is Casey Munoz. Our exploration zone is District 7 and we'll be presenting our park social proposal for the John P. Baca Park within Linda Vista. We see parks as a connective tissue, an open space where connection across cultures and neighborhoods can be made through art, play, and nature. We're particularly excited about this park because of the diversity of the immediate surrounding community, proximity to other neighborhood assets, and the Tecolote Canyon. This park is ADA accessible, highly visible, and is a simplistic space that connects a residential and commercial area. Upon exploring the park deeper, we discovered the existing public art piece, Ground Line, a low zigzag line of rocks as seen in the upper right image here. This provided inspiration to our proposal. We loved the simplicity of how lines can be used to make connection to another person, nature, and place. A line connects 2 points. So for example, I'm a point and you're a point. There's an invisible line between us that connects us both. Lines are formed through weaving, through body language, through trails walked, and the result is an energetic exchange. Our intention through this project is to foster a sense of play, connection, and awareness of place through the formal and metaphorical qualities of line. We see this as a 2-part process composed of a day-long event and final installation.
So one-day event will be planned that includes all-inclusive activities connecting participants through 3 different series of line exploration and engagement. These include free parts play activity, dance games, and a community weaving reflection activity. The activities and interaction will be photo and video documented and posted on the website. Participants will be asked to bring a piece of fabric which will be woven and or quilted together and incorporated into a final installation. The top photo is referencing where we are proposing to host the art and community engagement event. And the bottom photo is the area where we are proposing the hanging art element to be installed amongst the trees.
This is our conceptual rendering of the final installation, which will be a physical manifestation of lines. Our methodology includes exploring the lines during the activity of the event and the features within the park. While the first part of this piece is ephemeral, the final installation will be a tangible expression of line to activate the park and bring attention to the event that was held there. Collected community fabrics will be integrated into the installation. When within the park, viewers will be immersed in a dynamic field of lines as shown here. When viewed from across the street, the lines will appear as a continuous line of intervals, with intervals of color connecting the trees.
We'll be using breathable, lightweight, colorful materials that will protect the integrity of the tree. We've received pre-approval on our materials and attachment methods from the City Arborist and Parks and Rec Department. Our existing colleagues and network listed here are supporting us through outreach by providing information on the happenings within the park and how people can participate before, during, and after the community event. Signage and supplementary QR codes will be provided at the park. Documentation of the event will be available on a webpage and social media platform. This is our proposed timeline. The installation will be up for 2 months. So in closing, we'd love to read you this poem we found by John Baca that we felt was in line with our vision. What is a park? A site of beauty, a place to rest, a place to stay, leave one's worries, also leave behind their stress of the day. A solitude visitor can be still, enjoy the quiet of their thoughts. One can hear the voices in the breeze. Trees are clapping their hands with the movement of the leaves. All humanity can find a space. All are welcome to a safe, you might say sacred place. These grounds will be a witness for families, lovers, and friends who picnic, play, hold hands, and maybe embrace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Klein and Casey. So that was great. And we will open the floor to anyone who would like to ask any questions or make any comments. Don't be shy. So it looks like Linda has made a request. Could you put the proposal image up again?
Yes.
And so there are two parts. Is that correct? There's the physical manifestation and as well as this engagement portion with activity.
Yes.
Yes.
See that Larry might have a comment to make. Larry, is that true?
Yeah, no, I really like the I know you only had a couple of minutes to summarize your project, and I love the color and the weaving, the dance games. I just wondered if you could elaborate a little bit in the opening, Klein, you mentioned the influence of Tecolote Canyon and also diversity. How does your three activities, the dance, the community weaving, and the playing, how does that connect to some of these surrounding elements that you mentioned in your opening?
Yeah, so we had originally been exploring a different area, but and in that process, we were looking at Tecolote Canyon, and what Casey and I both noticed that we really love about Tecolote Canyon is in itself, it's almost this artery that connects all these different parts within the city, and has a deep history of people using that for shelter, for food, and then also environmentally, it's very diverse in terms of the planting and a channel for water. So we just like this idea of this kind of connective tissue that this land formation took. Casey, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that was beautifully said. And it's probably what, a block away, as a trailhead is about a block away from the John Baca Park, maybe a block and a half.
And what we really loved about the existing public art piece ground line is it talks about this, it's this kind of energy bolt that's based in that space. And it is a way to really connect people that live in that space, even if they don't speak all that the same language. So it's kind of this visible element that people can walk through and engage with.
So it looks like we have Doreen and then Linda. I think we have time for about 2 comments, so that's perfect. So Doreen, if you would like to speak.
I absolutely love this. I like how it connects to the community, to the culture. And I love the idea of this energy lightning bolt coming through this unusual space and what you're going to do with it. How long was this going to be up? I didn't get that. How long?
2 months.
I see something like this being done every 6 months. I mean, I would hate to have this up for 2 months and have it go down. It doesn't seem like it's anything that's going to be too hard to erect. I mean, I'm hoping that maybe you can go for a continuum with its presence, because I think it's marvelous. But I'd like to see the community have it, you know, with different events that they do, and a commemoration of maybe something that's going to be happening. And also, as far as the materials, it only has to stay up 2 months, and I'm just wondering, what kind of material do you use to wrap the trees that would not get ruined from the climate?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna do a little exploration around that, but what we've talked about are, you know, ropes and or wool, things that are gonna allow, are gonna be breathable, fabrics that are breathable, so that if there's any moisture, there's not moisture holding around the trunk of the tree. So lightweight fabrics, we haven't identified very exact ones that we'll use. We'll be incorporating some fabrics that the community brings to it. We've identified like a range of fabrics like wool and rope.
Yeah, nothing that could run.
Yeah.
But I think these colors are glorious. I love all these different materials used, and I wish you the best of luck with it.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we're just over 5 minutes, but I see Linda has a question. So Linda, you unmute yourself, and then Fritz and Tracy, I see your requests as well.
I just wanted to say that I really appreciate this proposal. It's beautiful. I love the use of the materials. They're so organic, and they're so also germane to the different cultures that live in the community of Linda Vista. It's a resettlement area for Vietnamese refugees, and I think it's so apropos that it's a John P. Baca Park, given that he was awarded the Medal of Honor. So it's really, for me, as I look at this, it's really about courage, and it's really about honoring these traditions. And I'm wondering, in your process, I guess my question is, how much did you incorporate the ideas of courage and valor, honoring both the recipient's name there as a person of color and also the Vietnamese community?
Yeah, I mean, Klein, you correct me if I'm wrong, but we were really approaching it through play originally, but as we dove in deeper and, you know, researched a little bit more about John Baca, you know, I agree, there's definitely the courage and valor layer that we can take, you know, we should incorporate somehow, but it wasn't our original intention.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, I think both Casey and I use play as a tool to really invite a courageous quality in terms of how people engage with a place. But yeah, I love these comments, and these are great questions we need to dive into more.
So one clarifying question, is the community going to be involved in creating the tree wraps?
So we've talked about that back and forth. We thought that maybe with the timeline, we weren't sure if it was going to be too tight, but it's something we've been considering. I love the aspect of that. Yeah, I think we both do.
And so I will, so we have another, let's see. Sorry, guys. So Fritz, if you could be really concise, because we're almost like double the time.
Curious to know, I'm just curious to know whether any consideration was made to any sort of religious organizations in that area, since the spiritual aspect of play, a great undercurrent of that tends to be based in religion. Religion is such an integral part of culture. But I do know that you want to make this more play. I didn't want to make it heavy-handed, but I noticed that the participants, you had the Boys and Girls School and UCSD and all that sort of stuff, but was there any attempt to reach, or was there any consideration about a local religious churches or what have you? Just curious.
Not directly, but Bayside Community Center is a long-term partner, a collaborator, and I believe that they have some connections in that way. It's a good point and something we'll consider.
And I think in terms of the signage, a lot of what we're trying to do is invite people into the process. So if people are walking by and they want to get involved, we're certainly striving to make that happen in other ways.
Actually, I know we're over time, but I actually got my certificate to baptize my godson around the corner at Holy Family in that neighborhood.
Well, thanks so much to you both. I hope that was really helpful. I think we had a great dialogue. So thank you.
Thank you.
So the next presentation that we're going to see today is for Ingram Over and Marisol Rendon Over. So Marisol, I think you're there already sharing your screen. Awesome. Great. So you can just take it away whenever you are ready. I think you might be muted though.
Sorry about that. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. So I guess we'll kind of just jump right into it with the time being limited. The park that we've selected is the Otay Valley Regional Park. It is a large open space park system, and it's actually managed by 3 different organizations. There's the City of Chula Vista, the County of San Diego, and also the San Diego City Parks. And so it stretches along borders between San Diego and Chula Vista. And so far we've really sort of deeply explored roughly about 8 miles of this park system that has developed trails on it. The park actually stretches all the way out to the Otay Reservoirs, which in that direction, the trail system is still kind of in process and in production. And so we've mostly kept our sort of exploration zone from basically the Greg Cox Bike Park, which is just west of the 805, all the way out to the Salt Works, where this trail system then joins into the Coronado kind of bike trail system up the Silver Strand. So for us, we've identified there's 2 locations that are sort of very specifically developed and handicap accessible, ADA accessible, and that is the Ranger Station and the Greg Cox Bike Park. There are a few other moments at places where there are underpasses and bridges where it kind of intersects roadways in different ways, where there are some slightly less sort of committed areas of access. So really for us, having this large open space park is about exploring these areas of the park that are harder to get to, basically extremely varied in their environments, and then bringing some of those things to the developed areas of the park, the Ranger Station and Greg Cox Bike Park, in the form of images and websites and trail maps, basically to
We We have 2 minutes left, so you
Okay,
know.
allow some access to what's going on within the trails. So we also are interested in doing 3 different engagement events. The first one being the Gnat Catcher's Glance, which is really kind of our introduction workshop event where we hope to, at the ranger station, offer a series of workshops that allow community members to engage in a couple of the fabrication processes that we'll be using within the site, which we'll talk about in a moment. And also introduce them to how they can get information on following the projects over the course of the event. We'd like to do a second event, which is the Path of the Checker Spot, which is going to be more of a site-specific happening, kind of a median event sort of in the course of the intervention in the parks, where we'd like to do a site-specific installation that hopefully will be accessible to the public, but that will also be made accessible through video and documentation. And then the final appearance is sort of a culmination of a number of different site-specific projects that we would like to then sort of remove from their site-specific locations within the park. It'll be a presentation of video, photography, and actual objects that have interacted with the environment, with park goers, and with nature throughout sort of the run of this exhibit.
We're at 5 minutes.
Okay. So I guess the only thing I didn't say there is that we're identifying a number of different locations. The idea for this project is that we want to continue to explore this park. We want to continue to go out into the park, ride bikes, hike. We want to make, we've identified this object as of a sphere that we hope to create both from natural elements in the park and also to engage in sort of some of the populations that are there in the park as well. And I feel like we're a little bit broad reaching here to try and cover in 5 minutes. So I'll just turn it over to questions and then we'll dive into some of the specifics that we can.
Thank you so much. I know the constraints are
No,
constraining.
I want to share the excitement about the park. We have, again, we are very much connected in so many different ways, but we'll love to, hear the questions and of course, explain a little bit more about what's behind the spheres and everything else. So.
Thank you. So anyone who has any feedback, just jump in because you know we have 5 minutes. So. Questions or comments? Okay, Larry.
Well, it might not surprise you for me to ask this question, but it's looking at a map, it's obvious that this park is also near the border.
Mm-hmm.
And I would think especially Marisol might be interested in that issue. So I wondered if there's any thought about injecting anything related to the border culture, Latinx culture, or anything like that. I realize it's an open space, but that is also the audience of people who have access to that space or should have access to that space. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. But I love everything that you're doing also. So not a critique, just get you thinking about these other issues.
There is so much going on, absolutely. You know, I'm part of kind of what we are bringing to the idea of the conversation, the introduction, the workshop, the first sort of appearance. We would love to be able to connect to the community. I think that part of the, you know, the continuation of the project for the other 5 months will be based on that specific experience. You know, even bringing a little bit of kind of, again, the language, la mirada de la atrapamoscas, which is something that I'm very kind of fascinated by, the diversity and the things that we are not like seeing obviously in the park, but that we are able to kind of talk about it in a more sort of poetic way. I think that I would love to just see what's going to happen. This is a project that we had the very specific experience, especially in one area where we found there's a couple of kind of encampment areas around, but there was something fascinating that it kind of we experienced, which is seeing already some sort of art related moments in this kind of a lot where actually we don't know who, but there is somebody with a very specific conceptual art approach to the debris and the arrangements.
Yeah, there was a transient encampment that there were moments of like functionality where you realize like somebody is living here. But all around that, there were moments of just pure aesthetic arrangement of natural objects, of debris, of things like that. And so we realized that there was art already being made there. You know, the one underpass image that's up above here has some of the most breathtaking graffiti work I've seen, you know, outside of some of our sanctioned things like Barrio Logan and whatnot. And so what we want to do is really bring things into the environment. We're using the idea of the sphere as kind of almost a blank canvas to be worked upon by the environment, by nature. So some of the things that are kind of listed here is to actually create spheres that we're actually experimenting some with our chickens here at home right now, you know, that are actually fed upon by animals in the park and monitoring those with trail cameras. There's the idea of placing a sphere in this area that's heavily graffitied and beautifully so, and seeing what happens basically to the surface of those things. So it can be engaging with the environment, with the animals, and with the public who is there. You know, it is open space. There is very little control over many of the areas here. And so the work, I think, is less about us directing how that interaction is, but, you know, kind of giving a place for that interaction to happen and for us to be able to sort of record it and then present that.
Bring it back. And just to answer your question, I know that this is a very strange way to answer that question, but I think that we are just waiting to see how that connection is going to be once we are able to have the dialogue with the community. And also the fact that kind of going back, this is the area that actually my students go to. We are connected also with the Bayers Park for our upcoming project. So it's very interesting for us to be able to develop, think about, and actually create an understanding of kind of the ecosystem in all different levels. So I'm super excited. And again, I know that we are not answering your question, but I think that we are going to be looking for those opportunities.
Thank you. Great answer.
Thank you so much, guys. This is really an exciting project. I can't wait to see it realized. But I think we're at time. So I know Zakia has joined. Zakia of Disco Riot will be the next presenter. And Linda is just sharing, she seconds the support of that question. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Marisol. So Zakia, if you are on, you can share your screen.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to hear about our proposal for Park Social, Choreo and. I will share my screen after I explain a little bit what we're doing and give you a little work sample then, but I wanted to start just by speaking briefly about the project. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to read from my notes so that I'm really concise and clear for you right now. So our proposal for Park Social is this project called Choreo and. We are assigned to District 6 and are considering Hickman Field Athletic Area as our primary location and site. There are different athletic fields, baseball, soccer, and other outdoor spaces. Obviously, they're at the park, but we also understand that there's some contracting that happens there, and we may need to shift locations to either Olive Grove or Canyon Hills parks that also have the same access to athletic fields. So we're just aware that within District 6, we may have to shift around a little bit to some other athletic-based park locations. We are proposing live dance performance for the beginning of April and the end of July of 2022. So 2 different iterations of the same concept or the same project. Choreo and is a socially specific site-informed interactive dance performance with an emphasis on local dance artists. We will be finding some ways to kind of uniquely incorporate dance community as well as the general public to show up and engage in this practice of both performing live dance and engaging in some sort of physical activity related to the space. So the idea right now is that we will approach baseball in the summer in July, and we'll approach soccer in the winter. And the performances will be built around the engagement with that activity. So the audience participants will get to play a little bit of soccer and then watch a little bit of dance performance kind of related to team sport and building community and engaging with the outside park spaces. So the dances will be site informed. And then the activity that the audience engages with will be directly related to the park space that they're in. In addition to the performances and the sort of audience participation component, there will be an athletic director of some kind that helps to facilitate the activities. So it's not just like audience members running around kicking soccer balls, but kind of engaging in some strategic community building activities around the sport. And then we'll also have a DJ there to kind of create an environment and an ambiance as people are playing the sports and engaging with the activities in the park in between the dance performances. So that's the general scope of the project. We will be enlisting various dance artists from across the San Diego region from various genres of dance to participate in the project. So inside of each of these iterations, there will be multiple dance artists that are presenting their work as part of the project, which speaks to the park's social interest in re-energizing the arts community and creating more opportunities for local artists to reactivate their practice and their projects. So that's kind of the scope of the project. And I'll just briefly share a quick 1-minute video of a previous iteration of this same project that we did called Choreo and Skate. We rented out Skate World and the audience got to skate and then watch some dance performances. So I figured it would just be a nice, easy way for me to give you a visual example of how a project like this sort of works and how we've been sharing this project previously. This happened in March of 2020, right before we went into lockdown. I think that's all I have to say, unless there, questions and things. I'm happy to entertain whatever other information you need from me.
Thank you so much, Zakia. That was awesome. We have 5 minutes for comments and questions. And again, don't be shy. I believe this is one of the first dance-based artworks that we've worked with at the commission. So that's that's really cool. Well, wait, you know how this goes.
Thanks, Klein.
Okay, any attendees or panelists have any comments? Okay. Okay, I don't see any. I guess that means everyone loves it. So
Great.
yeah, and if there's any follow-up, I can extend that to you. So
Awesome. Thank you.
thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
your time,
Sophia.
everyone. We appreciate it.
So the next presenter will be Roberto Salas. So Roberto, if you could share your screen. Great. Hello, we see you.
Hello, good morning. How's everyone? Nice to see everyone. Can we get the screen? I have an assistant here who's helping me with the technology, so please bear with me. The name of my proposal is tribute to Paleteros, and paletas are, ice cream little pops that you see. And when I take a look at these proposals or this initiative, it was very exciting to hear what was going on. But I always go back to my childhood because that was one of my favorite things to do, is to explore parks. Because there's that whole idea of exploring a park is just wonderful. That was a great thing. And there's all kinds of things. But can we go move to the next one? But keeping within the genre of what I do, one of the things that this work, these site road attractions, it involves a lot of people. It's intergenerational. It reaches bigger audiences than anybody who actually goes to a park, because you have to drive a vehicle, walk, or take a bike to the park. So my chosen area is actually Governor's Boulevard, which traverses several parks, and it extends for a long part of the way. I'm in District 1. And I want to create these wayfinders that become these surprises that as you drive by, go by, and reminder, oh, there's a great park there. We should come see this pieces. That's the whole drive behind this. The paleteros have been so much abused, and so as well as other vendors. I mean, there's news all over the place that people are very verbally abusive, but these are our heroes. These are the guys that provide the treats. This is after an exhausting day of running around like a madman, as I did when I was a kid. A pop was something that I always related to. So these are going to be these paletas that are going to be huge. Can we move on to the next one? These are some coloring renderings that I've done. I'm using materials that will go according to the budget, which is wood, because metal would be completely, I'm outpriced. So I can do it afforded with wood. It can be large, it can be two-sided. There is a structural document that I have designed and kind of engineered so that I can get it together. Now the design is mono. And so the variable is that what we put on the facade. And the facade can take paint, it'll take the reflective vinyl, which will give you the reflectivity and excitement and animation when you're driving in your vehicle, because then your vehicle becomes the museum, the gallery, and it's a successful genre that I have been noted for. 30 years ago, we did the first public art piece. It was a temporary piece, and then it was purchased by the city of San Diego. And I've lectured in different places, and lo and behold, people have seen the piece because, it's in good real estate. They see it at the zoo entrance. So it's a memorable thing. It's an emotional thing, because that's how I participate with the intergenerational audience, is to give them that emotion that, oh, this thing's here. You see it during the day with color, but at nighttime, that's the optimum way to see it. Can we move, please? As you can see here, I just kind of want to explain a little bit of the technical. The one we're looking here is the way it's going to be structured out of wood. It's a lightweight, it's Luan, 1/4 inch. The impact on the ground, it'll be a small footprint, which will be a hole that will be stuffed in with a little bit of gravel, which will be easy to take the spoils out. And then once the deinstallation comes, we'll set it in there, and that'll be like nothing happened. Replace the sod. And the size is approximately about 48 inches altogether with the bottom section. So they'll be pretty large. There's no maintenance required, no sharp edges, none of that. Things that can be in danger to anybody actually approaching them or walking by there, or a dog it'll be easily maintained. You know, it's just taking a weed eater and working around the actual plug. And this will stay up for the duration of the project, 6 months. And it could probably stay in a little longer as well. Can we change this to the next one, please?
About 45 seconds.
Oh, 25 seconds, but I think I've
45,
covered.
you're good, a minute.
I think I've covered just about everything that I could say there, you know, about it, because it's a real simple approach, because I take into account the budget, the time frame and everything, and the ability to do something simplistic, but at the time it has high impact, very high ping. Was one more final thing. There's a school there that I'm going to go deliver one of these, and we're going to put it on rollers and then make some kind of a plaque that introduces the artist, the concept, because these are the students that I need to be docents. And they're the first ones that are going to have contact with this because it's in their vicinity. And so they'll be docents, they'll pass the word and let people know what's going on. Also, I'm thinking of getting a little piece of vinyl, scraps, whatever, and then distributing to whoever wants to participate. They can cut something, it's sticky back, and they can go decorate their own paleta that hopefully sit in the hallway by the principal's office or somewhere around there.
Great. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Boy, we did it under 5 minutes. Wow.
Yes, right on time.
Great.
Thank
I know
you.
you got a lot of people. This is, by the way, congratulations. What a wonderful, exciting initiative. I can't wait to go see everybody's piece, you know. Very interesting.
Likewise, we're glad you're a part of it.
Thank you.
So, if anyone has any comments or questions, we have 5 minutes. Okay, Janet. Let me hold on. Let me give you access. Can you speak, Janet? I think you're muted right now.
Yeah, sorry, my mouse was acting weird and wouldn't click. All I have to say is I love the students as docents. I love that. That's my favorite. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Yeah, I think so. I think it gives them a little ownership. It can direct information, word of mouth, bring the parents, you know, so thank you. Yes.
Jason?
Yeah, great piece. I'm very excited about it. I think I heard you moments ago say that nighttime is the optimum time to see it. How and why is that?
Have you been up to the zoo lately?
No.
If you drive on Park Boulevard, try to drive in the evening. The thing is that I'm using reflective vinyl, and reflective vinyl is the same stuff you use for stop signs, yield signs. And it's got, you can cut it by hand and sticky back and lay it on the material, but your car lights activate the piece. Your car light becomes the gallery, the museum. And I'm working on the principles of cogeneration, you know, which you already have energy out there for you to see the road. Well, why not see some artwork? So I'm appropriating the space to bring it. And the parks are the perfect place for this because it'll be fun, exciting. And maybe we'll take a couple of, when we do the assembly at the school or something like that, maybe we'll figure out a way I can get a sponsor to give every kid a paleta. That would be the ideal, but at this point, you know, they will get an actual paleta they can move around and they can decorate themselves and have an understanding of what it is that your program, that the initiative is doing.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Tracy has made a comment that she loves the project, so. And then Ben. I think you might be muted.
Talking to myself again here. Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. I'm looking at the paleta on the right. Reminds me when I was a kid coming out of church in Guadalajara, and you'd have all these paleteros there, and you look into their case, and you see all these magical paletas with different colors, pink and blue and chartreuse, whatever it was. And it just brings back all these wonderful, wonderful memories of how important these paleteros are in many cultures. And thank you very much for this idea.
Thank you, sir.
So we have one more question from Linda. So she says, awesome project. And she was wondering, are you constructing the carrito?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Am I constructing?
The carrito.
Oh, the carrito. No, no. We're going to call those guys to come in so that we can do a little bell concert at the assembly. You know, I've always wanted to have a whole bunch of paleteros and have them do a little concert, and I direct it.
Yeah.
Great. Well, oh, thank you so much,
Well, thank
Roberto.
you. Appreciate everybody. Nice to see everybody. And again, congratulations. And thanks for all the work you guys are doing for the Commission for Arts and Culture. We need you guys. And it's an important time to start promoting the arts as much as we can and everywhere we can. I don't need to tell you, you guys are the choir.
You make it. So thank you.
Thank you.
So, so the next presenter that we have is David White. So I think David is in the meeting. So David, if you would like.
I'm here.
Okay, great.
I'm here.
Awesome.
Hi. Hello,
Hi.
everybody. Good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Should we just jump right
You can
into?
just jump right in. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We'll do. Let me share my screen here. Okay. Okay, yeah. So my proposal my initial proposal for the Park Social Project was generated from kind of thinking about the location, the district that I was in, and then just a few of the other contexts that we all find ourselves in within the last 18 months or so. And then just the more kind of general context of maybe San Diego as a whole in some ways. And so what I came up with was a proposal for having the like a tourist binocular overlook viewer, right? The kind of things where you normally see like scenery and architecture and things like this, or just, you know, look out into the ocean or have these amazing views. And then when someone approaches this overlook, when they look into the viewer, instead of them seeing what they're expecting to see, which is some kind of, you know, a tourism scene or something like this, right? That there's these little vignettes of, they look in the screen and it's this kind of, maybe to go ahead to, these are obviously found images that I had, but of people who are, you know, in the last 18 months or so have been deemed kind of essential workers, right? This idea of the people that really kind of make the city function, make the city run in the kind of behind the scenes way that doesn't usually get the usual kind of promotion, right? Just in the last 18 months, this term has become so commonplace in our language because of this kind of recognition of how people who are doing this type of work allow us to just do the rest of the things that function in our daily lives, right? But especially I think in the kind of usual sort of tourism context that is many of the regions of San Diego, and especially I think in the area that I have, which is in District 2, near Mission Bay and in and around that location, right? That a lot of times this sort of behind the scenes work that needs to get done is in fact left behind the scenes, right? It doesn't get brought to the forefront. So then the idea is you look in there, and then as the viewer kind of rotates, right, looking in different directions, it just as if you were looking to a different scene, it would click to a different view of somebody doing this type of work, right? And then the information, excuse me, the information, some of the background like research that I did in this was the information about thinking about how to figure out which of these jobs are would be represented in this comes from some information from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics for the region that is the metropolitan region of San Diego to Carlsbad, right? That's the way that they define that region. And then what were the top most commonplace jobs, right? Looking at those in the San Diego region. So I would kind of pull from that sort of top 10 list and have a range of, you know, maybe anywhere between like sort of 6 to 10 different occupations that are being represented when somebody's looking into the viewport to you know, to expecting this kind of view and then seeing these little snippets of the scenes of just really kind of like a flat shot of people just going about their daily business, right? Like just kind of doing their job, just this like this very, you know, as if the way I phrase it in the proposal, as if it's kind of like X-ray lenses, like you're looking into the fabric of the city, right? The heart of the city, of the things that actually make it run, sort of behind the scenes, right? So that's the kind of general overview of my proposal. I think it
Great.
approaching
Thank you.
5 minutes. That's
Yes,
yeah.
yes. You're
Okay.
doing good. You still have like a minute and a half.
Oh, I do. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's really the kind of crux of the proposal. I think it's a pretty simple idea, straightforward idea, but I think it's my mind. I like I like the premise.
Yeah.
Of it. Yeah.
No, thank you. I just saw you put up a new slide, so I just wanted to know in case you wanted to elaborate that you had a little bit of time. But,
oh yeah, this is just in terms of the information from the slide, right? This is some of the research in terms of this is the top 10 list of the most common jobs in that San Diego Carlsbad metropolitan region that I would be trying to target or pull from, right?
Great, thank you. I think we have a question. So the comment is super cool. How long does the battery last? / what's the power situation? And is the image a video or a still image?
It's a video. I would have it be a video. I would say the power situation is maybe my biggest question mark at this point. But from the research that I've been doing about how to make this feasible, I mean, I don't have at this stage everything fully technically laid out, or the project's not finished. I haven't built a prototype yet. But the fact that I think I could use essentially like a mobile device as the video, also for its compactness, but that it uses relatively little power compared to, like, say, if I was having like a full computer or something in there, or something like that. And I think that there'd be a way to possibly have some kind of battery, or maybe incorporate some rechargeable solar element onto the device so that it could help to continually recharge the battery, or maybe, I don't know, after like once a week or something during the period of time, maybe I'd have to switch out a battery or something like that. I'm still, as I said, working out the technical detail. From the information I've looked out, it seems feasible, right? But like I said, I don't have it fully resolved, but it seems within the realm of possibility at this point.
Thank you. And that question was from Austin Choi Fitz, just for the record. And then Larry has a comment or question.
Okay. Yeah, I really, this is a very intriguing and thought-provoking proposal. I really like it. I just had one question though. Most of these art projects are site-specific, and I assume you were actually given a site. You didn't really talk about that at all. So I was wondering if you could mention where the site for this art is, and secondly, how could you bring the site into the art a little bit? Maybe there are certain workplaces near the site or certain types of work that are specifically related to the site, so that someone in the site isn't just looking at things about the region, but also learning something about where the site is, or perhaps even finding a way to make it ironic that there's nothing like that at the site. And that might be interesting, because right now it doesn't have anything to do, as far as I can tell, doesn't seem to have much to do with the site, but I think there might be a way to work that in somehow. Anyway, that's just a thought I had about it.
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So the site that I ended up choosing was at Kate Sessions Park, and it for a couple of reasons. I mean, I was debating between this location and somewhere closer to Mission Bay. I mean, my point of view on the device is, in some ways, I would rather have it be almost seen as like, oh, this would kind of make sense in this location. Like maybe it's an actual this device, and then when you look into it, there's the surprise of like, oh, this is not what I was expecting to be looking at, right? So I was, in the sense of it being an object often found in more tourist type locations, and like, so the two locations that I was kind of going back and forth were somewhere closer to Mission Bay, but then I also like the kind of Kate Sessions aspect of it, in the sense that you see the bay, but it's also up high, so you get a little bit more of a kind of panorama of the city. So as you're kind of looking through, you get the sense of like, oh, I'm looking into, I don't know, something happening over here in I don't know, City Heights or something, right? Or I'm looking over here. So that was my thought about the site. The site, in kind of more of a district-wide idea of site, but also the specifics of the site just being the vantage point that you get from specifically at Kate Sessions Park. You know, possibly Mission Bay. I mean, that this is not going to be fully fixed to the ground. I was also maybe thinking and wanted to kind of work with the city staff on this idea, right? Like if it could maybe spend some time at Kate Sessions, maybe sometime at Mission Bay or something like that, right? Because I think both of those sites would work. This one works for the vantage, and then the Mission Bay is more of the real kind of touristy, where you would maybe expect to see something like this, right?
Thank you. That's interesting.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
Well, thank you so much, David. And yeah, if anyone has, we have about 1 minute if anyone has any other comments. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next presentation.
I guess you can't see, I have speak here, but you probably
I
can't.
couldn't. Go ahead, Doreen.
I don't know. Okay, so I have that. For some reason I'm not being called on. I'm probably doing it wrong. I think it's wonderful, and I think that it, serves as appreciation for how our community, works. I think it's just a fabulous idea. I see it says 25 cents on here, so and so I'm thinking, where is the 25 cents going to go? So I'm just, it's almost funny. And I see 2 eyes on here, and I wonder if you thought of embellishing this at all to give more, so they know that it's really something to explore in an art piece, rather than buy it and say, well, I don't want to look, I'm not spending a quarter to look at the view.
Yeah, well, I was thinking that I would just disable the quarter part of it, right? I'm not going to try and take the quarters and then run to the Cayman Islands or whatever, right? like it's so I was thinking of I would just kind of disable that part of it, or make it so if they put it in, it drops back out, or something where it just kind of takes that out of the equation, I would say. Yeah, so they don't have to actually maybe put the 25 cents in there.
I think it's just so fresh, and I think it's a wonderful way of giving a presence to all of our hard functioning community, city workers. I think it's the top city workers. I think it's a great idea. I just see it as a piece of sculpture with the 2 eyes, and I see you doing something to it where people will be gravitated, like go right towards it, like, whoa, what is that? And then they'll know to look, and then when they look, they'll see it. It's like a hook. I'm thinking of a hook for it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thanks for the feedback on that. I'll think about that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you everyone who engaged, and thank you, David, for your presentation.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you all for doing this.
Okay, we have one final presentation by the artist collective Art Builds. It's representing Art Builds today. We have Gordon Hoople and Diane. Oh, I can't read your last name, Diane. Hoffas. Diane Hoffas. Yes, thank you. So you guys, you can share your screen and go ahead and present.
Great, thanks everybody. Can everybody see my slides here now? Yeah, all right, excellent. So we are the collective Art Builds. So thanks for inviting us today. I'm Gordon Hoople, I'm one of the co-founders, and we specialize in participatory sculpture design. And so Park Social, we were assigned District 1 and chose Ellen Browning Scripps Park, shown here. We love this site. It has these beautiful vistas of the sea, the grass, the sand, the sky. We really wanted to kind of play with all of those different colors and images. So our team, just a little bit about who we are. It's a big group, very interdisciplinary. Diane Hoffas is here today as well to help answer questions. About half of us are on the faculty of the University of San Diego. The rest are kind of working professionals here in the city. This is our concept. Our working title is Reflection. So the piece consists of multiple mirrored columns, and each column is about 9 feet tall and 4 feet wide. And so park visitors will actually be able to rotate each segment, changing both how the piece looks and what it reflects. And the mirrors here will be acrylic, plastic, so they're going to avoid any issues like regulations about glass in the park. So let me show you a little top view here. So in the top view, these are rotatable triangular segments that have either straight, convex, or concave mirrors on them. So it's going to really change depending on how you line them up, what you see. And you could line them all up straight, you could line them all up mixed up as they're shown here. Lots of different ways to kind of play with this. And we're particularly interested in the ways that these reflections will change both how people see themselves and their surroundings in the park. We were really inspired by the RFQ calling for, getting people out in the park and experiencing them in new and unexpected ways. Right? This idea of like, how do you go into the park and what do you do? And kind of getting people to stop and look. We're still kind of working on what to do with this at night and what power options are available. Here's a potential concept that would be like our dream if we can get a lot of power. We're not sure that's feasible, but we're certainly would like to do some kind of illumination to kind of keep these interactive at night as well. We did do a little bit of a prototype already. We took kind of a previous version of this idea up to Scripps Park to see how it looked, see what these kind of did. And it was really, really fun. So kind of as soon as we set these up, people just started coming over. They started twisting these mirrors, looking at themselves, taking pictures. So we're really excited about this concept. It's gonna be fun and engaging. It's gonna like invite people to walk up and stop and have conversations. So with that, I'll stop. I wanna thank you for the time and just leave plenty of time for questions. I'll also drop a link in the chat so folks can pull up the images if they want on their own and kind of look at them in more detail. I'll stop. Well, I'll keep sharing my screen in case there's specific things people want me to go back to. Oh, you're muted, Laura. How long will we leave it up? That's a great question. I think we're still kind of working with the folks at this specific site to see what they're amenable to. Ideally, we'd like to leave it up for around 6 months, maybe a little bit longer, but I think it's really going to be dictated by like conversations with the local park and the community in La Jolla, see what would fit for that site. Other questions? Ideas?
Go ahead, Ben.
Yes, thank you very much for the presentation. I think this is a wonderful idea, and I just can't wait to see it. As an architect, I really do appreciate the effect it's going to have in reflecting the surroundings. Thank you very much.
Janet, did you want to speak? And it looks like Doreen as well. So let's go with Janet first and then Doreen.
I just really wanted to say I love mirrors. And so I love this. And the idea of it being kinetic is great. I really like it a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Doreen, did you have a comment?
Yes, I absolutely love this. It's in my district. I'm there all the time with my grandchildren, and we go down to the beach. And I will tell you that it's very dark there at night in that park. So this is going to be magic, absolute magic. I am so excited about this, and I hope you get a lot of attention. And I can't wait to take the family down there. And I think that it's going to be kind of a destination for people who come to the village. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doreen. I appreciate your comments about it being dark. Wait, can you hear me? Am I unmuted? Yeah. Okay, so I appreciate your comments about being dark there at night. I think that's true. And I think we have an opportunity to really call attention to something that, call attention to something that brings something new to the park by adding some light at night. So when people sort of go by it, I think, wow, I didn't notice that during the day because it reflected all the images around me and I was far enough away that it sort of blended in. I think I really hope we can find a power solution so that we can, and there's so much that you can do with light and mirrors. And so, yeah, so I really hope that we'll be able to add that to have a full, like a 24-hour presence rather than just sort of during the daytime hours.
Thank you so much.
We have a comment from Tracy as well. She says, I really like the sample you showed. It's organic and feels more connected to the environment. Can the new version be a similar quality?
Can you clarify what you mean?
Tracy, if you would like to speak, I think I can, let me, it says allow to talk if you would like to speak. And
Am I okay? I think I'm good. So the sample that you showed was wood and you know, twine, and I mean it was definitely more rudimentary, and but what I'm thinking is that the 3 new ones that you showed were they're very, you know, they feel very mechanical, and the other one felt more natural, and the wind could predict where the mirrors flowed, and you know, it was hanging, and people could go up and just like, you know, see how the wind was moving the images instead of, you know, a human touching it or moving it. And again, like I said, it was wood, and it looked like you had twine and, you know, things like that, so a little bit more organic. I was just wondering if the new one could incorporate some of those elements as well, like involve nature instead of just having it be like these obelisks that people just kind of touch and move around. Does that make sense? I'm not sure if it makes sense.
Well, I'll take a stab at that. So I think that's a really good comment. So this is something that we've sort of considered and debated since the very beginning. In fact, the first thing that we did when we went there was try to get a feel for the park and what would sort of go well with it. And I agree that something with an organic feel is really a good choice. We're sort of we're also balancing that against it'll be in an area that gets that has sprinklers, and you know, may have some degradation being so near the coast. So we also experimented with doing things that were metal, but with kind of a tree-like shape, or with some sort of patina on it that made it look more wooden. So I think these features we can find a way to incorporate, but still have something that's maybe a bit sturdier. Did you want to add something, Gordon? Also, I think that that's part of the reason for the curviness of some of the shapes is rather than having it just be, you know, very rigid, and like the squares, the dangling squares were I think beautiful, but I also like the fact that we've got these curved mirrors that sort of reflect some of the you know, the boundaries of the park aren't rectilinear at all, and so it sort of reflects that you know, wiggly nature of things.
Thank you.
thank you. So we're right at about 5 minutes. We have time for one more question or comment, if there are any? It looks like there aren't any. So thank you so much, Diana and Gordon. We look forward to your project being realized.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is it back to me, Laura, then?
Yes. You can
All
take
right.
it away.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Laura. Thanks to all the artists for their presentations, and thanks to the committee for your questions and comments. And I will ask for any public comment. Laura, please read aloud any public comment for this item that was submitted in writing, and call on any attendees that would like to provide comment for this item.
Thank you, Commissioner Meza. There is no written comment. If there are any attendees who would like to provide public comment, please raise your hand. Okay, seeing none.
Okay. Thanks all once again. Now, I'd like to call on Christine Jones to provide the staff reports.
Thank you, Commissioner Meza. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting really excited about Park Social. And so seeing all these ideas. So we're looking forward to bringing this back to you again later this winter with a, just so you guys can see how the artists have evolved and provide you more updates on our program and launch in winter and spring. But what
I do see on that note, Marisol did raise her hand. I'm just seeing it now on the Park Social note.
Okay.
For public comment.
All right, let's go back to Marisol for her public comment then first.
Thank you so much. Well, we're just wondering, while listening to these wonderful proposals, which I can actually wait to see all of this, thinking about budget and documentation, is there just also seeing the possibility to kind of interview the artists and going through some sort of going back and forth between the parks. Is there any maybe ideas of how all the project, the Park Social project, will get documented or presented to as a whole to the city?
So absolutely, I think we mentioned to you all early on that our intention is to be able to promote this as an initiative. So we're working behind the scenes on all that to connect all this. So all that's going to be forthcoming in our program announcements in our launch in winter and spring. So more to come, and more specifically for all the artists to get you guys all engaged in that.
Then thank you so much.
So unless there's any other public comments, I'll go back to updates. So our first update is just we have a new Percent for Art project coming online this fall. So the city will be releasing a call for artists, request for qualifications for Fire Station 48, which is up in Black Mountain Ranch. The fire station will be comprised of a new permanent fire station, approximately 11,500 square feet. It'll be located in Carmel Valley Road and Wine Creek Road. For those of you not familiar with Black Mountain Ranch, it's a recently developed suburban community in northeastern part of the city of San Diego. So we'll be commissioning an artist to design site-specific artwork to integrate into the fire station design. We'll be bringing back at an upcoming Public Art Committee meeting a proposed recommendation for an artist selection panel. We'll be also asking for a Public Art Committee member to volunteer for that panel, so that will be coming up at a future meeting. But we did want you to be aware that this is should be released within the next month. And then in addition to the Percent for Art project, we are excited to see Here Comes the Neighborhood, San Ysidro, starting to become realized. So as you all know, Fallen Fruit is been commissioned to create their community fruit park. So the installation is underway for that park transformation into a fruit orchard. So as you remember, this is the first of 3 of Here Comes the Neighborhood San Ysidro projects. So Fallen's Fruit is their artwork. The trees will produce fruit year-round as a medium to really activate a new public space and really encourage community interaction, engagement, and healthy eating and well-being. So the completion of this installation is anticipated at the end of the year, with the other 2 projects anticipated in 2022. So we'll share more updates on this at the next meeting. And that concludes our updates for today, Commissioner Meza.
Thank you very much, Christine. Let's see. Finally, Laura, please read aloud any public comment for this item that was submitted in writing, or call any attendees that would like to provide comment on this item.
Thank you, Commissioner Meza. So there's no written public comment, but if there are any attendees who would like to provide public comment, or any committee members that have any reports that they would like to share, I'll give a little more time this time, just for people to raise their hands.
Thank you very much. Thank you, committee members. Great meeting and great comments from our team here. A reminder that our next Public Art Committee meeting will convene on Friday, December 3rd This meeting is adjourned at 10:59. You all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.